Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our National Players Throwback 2000 franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, we had free agency, which we made a couple of defensive signings, and we started up the season sim. And as you can see so far in our first 14 games, we are 6-6-2, so actually doing a little bit better than expected. The main reason why is apparently our defense has been good, and also we've been getting some pretty solid production from the top 6 on our roster now. I don't know if this is going to maintain itself, but Greg Johnson, Scott Walker, and Andreas Johansson have been all really good. Also, Steve Sullivan has been great this season. Only 2 goals, but 13 points in 14 games. Nagy's got 11 points, but then you can see it starts to drop off a little bit afterwards. So our offense has improved, but our offense still isn't one of the best in the league because we aren't getting that depth scoring. The good thing is you can see also with our plus minuses on our roster that our bottom 6 hasn't been that good. So I feel like eventually the wheels are going to fall off for this team and we're going to start to lose more games than win. But that also depends on our goaltenders because you can see Thomas Vokoun and Rick DiPietro have been both really solid so far in these first 14 games, especially DiPietro, but also Vokoun's been pretty decent despite having a losing record. So I'm hoping that the team falls off a little bit after, like in this episode, because I honestly don't want to be making the playoffs yet, because obviously we want to have a top pick this year and hopefully a top pick in next year's draft as well. But obviously if this team over-simulates somehow and gets into a playoff spot, that would not be great, but I guess it would be some experience for the guys. But at the moment, I still think we're going to just fall off because if we look right now here at the standings, especially in our division, you can see that we've got 14 points in 14 games. You have St. Louis who's played one more game than us, but one less point. They should easily be able to pass us at some point. And then Chicago, I'm pretty sure, is pretty much on par with us in terms of their quality of roster. I don't know exactly what their roster looks like at this point in time. But maybe in one of these future episodes, if you guys want, we could do an episode where we look at every single team's new rosters. Like maybe at the end of the 2003 or at the beginning of the 2003-04 season, maybe I just have a dedicated episode to like catching you guys up on what every team looks like or something like that. But if we just go to like the Western Conference, for instance, you can see we are currently in the 6th spot, and we have played a lot more games than San Jose, who's currently in the 5th spot. You also have LA, who's basically exactly tied with us. You have St. Louis, who's not too far behind us. So there's an easy chance that we could fall off if we are to start losing a couple games here and there. So hopefully we do not make the playoffs because that's not what we want at this stage. Surprisingly, right now, the New York Islanders are the best team in the NHL, which is kind of a crazy turnaround considering they weren't very good in the early stages. So it will be interesting to see if we get a similar cup champion to the real 2002 season this year or not. But anyways, before we get into simulating some more of the season, let's get into your guys' comments now and see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we will continue simulating up to probably a day before the trade deadline. So the first comment is from Tyler G 1994, who says, "So much goalie nostalgia in that draft class. I remember them all. Although I'm a goalie nerd, Jeff Drouin and Delorier had some of my favorite goalie pads ever." And yes, I remember you mentioning that in the Discord, his like Reebok pads. I could picture them in my head, but I don't know exactly what type of Reebok pads. You obviously do know those. I'm not really good at like naming goalie gear off the top of my head unless it's a goalie gear that's in this game, so I don't remember exactly what they're called, but I could definitely put up a picture of what Jeff Drouin and Delorier looked like back in 2009, I guess it was. But yeah, this draft class definitely does have a lot of nostalgic goaltenders for the 02 draft. Some of them are pretty trash, some of them are actually pretty decent. So you got like Cam Ward, Antti Niemi, Kari Lehtinen, Josh Harding as the big ones, Jeff Delorier there, and Curtis McElhinney. Those are like the top of them. But then you get into some of the no-name ones like Hannu Toivonen. You also scroll down here to Michael Garnett. And yeah, there's probably some more down here, but I have not seen them. Oh, there's Adam Monroe, that type of thing. The next comment is from Sandra Taco. Says, "I was in the car for this episode and fist pumped when I heard St. Louis signed in Tampa Bay. I had to pull into the gas station to make this comment. I hope he sticks around long term with them. Just 1-year deal may not happen. Still, I am super excited. Please check his stats when the season ends." And will do. That's kind of funny that you were listening to this while you were driving. But yeah, Martin St. Louis signed with the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is very, very exciting. I hope that he is there long term, but honestly, they might not use him long term because currently, as I expected, he's on the second line with Brian Holzinger and Freddie Modine. He's actually not playing with Jason Blake. I was hoping that they would have played him more next to Brad Richards, but Brad Richards apparently is being used as a left winger on that top line right now, which is interesting. So hopefully at some point Tampa decides to move on from Mike Johnson. I know that he does have a long-term deal. Yeah, he signed probably an 8x8. So I don't know if Martin St. Louis will get that chance on the top line eventually or not. Hopefully he does. Right now he's got only 6 points in 15 games, so he's not really simulating like the Martin St. Louis that played for Tampa in real life, but hopefully at some stage if he plays next to like LeCavalier and stuff like that, that helps him out quite a bit, because I would assume... Oh, Mike Johnson's not even doing that good. He's got 1 goal in 15 games, yet he's getting $8 million. That's interesting. Tampa's definitely in a weird state. They're probably not going to win a Stanley Cup by 04 in this sim. There's no chance, I feel like, of it. The next comment is from Michael Dose, who says, Martin St. Louis to Tampa made me happy to see, even as a Blackhawks fan. And yeah, it made me happy too, because Martin St. Louis, definitely one of the most underrated players, I would say, of the 2000s, just based on the fact that he won undrafted and then played a couple years with Calgary. And then he went to Tampa Bay and all of a sudden became a superstar. So it's a remarkable story, and it's definitely something that you like to see when a guy goes undrafted and then all of a sudden becomes one of the best players of a certain decade. The next comment is from Jared the Rabbit, who said, you skipped over Mike McKenna when looking at goalies, and apparently I guess I skipped over Mike McKenna when looking at goalies at the draft in last episode. Let's take a look and see where Mike McKenna is. Good shout out to Mike McKenna, former Sens legend. Oh yeah, there he is, yeah. Perfect. So he's in this draft as well. He's supposed to go undrafted though, so he's more than likely not even going to get taken. He might go in next year's draft, but I don't know if he will get drafted at all, because he's, I think, only an AHL starter, because very fringe NHL goaltender. And the last and final comment also is from Michael Dose, which I almost completely forgot, so sorry, Michael, for breaking up your comments. But anyways, this last one says, hoping Duncan Keith is coming to Nashville. Would be great if you could get him and Bouwmeester, but more than likely that's not going to happen. And yeah, it would be nice to get both of those guys, obviously, because we do need defensive help, of course, for the future. And right now, the top prospects have Duncan Keith and Jay Bouwmeester in the top 10. So it would be nice to have both of them, but more than likely, we're only going to get one of them. Now, what I find interesting is you guys might be wondering why Duncan Keith's on Kelowna. Well, he actually was drafted by them in like one of those like CHL import drafts or whatever, but he never played for them because he was playing in the United States, so that's why he's on Kelowna. But to think Kelowna would have had him, Shea Weber, that type of thing is kind of insane. But yeah, there's him, and there's obviously Jay Bouwmeester playing in Medicine Hat. So there's some pretty solid defenders in this draft. After Bouwmeester, it does drop off considerably to like Trevor Daley and stuff like that. But maybe we could grab a few good defenders for the future of this team in the upcoming draft class. So there is that. And I think we are ready to continue to simulate. So, yeah, let's see if this team falls off like I'm expecting, because it would be nice to fall off. If this team continues to be on this trajectory, we might have to make some more changes in next episode to have us fall off a little bit more so. Okay, so our first task in this episode is against the Islanders, who are 8-1-4. That's going to be interesting. I don't know how they've been that good, but they have been. So it will be interesting when we get to a stage. Like, I think it would be a cool idea just for us for one episode to just like basically go down every team's roster again, just to see how much teams have changed over the first like 5 years. Once we get to that point or something like that, like at the end of yeah, definitely in 2003-04, I think would be a good time to do it, just because after that every draft class that I made has passed and all that. So I think that might end up what we do. So alright, so let's simulate to the end of November and see if we could fall off a bit, because obviously that's what we're hoping for here. We did beat the Islanders in regulation, so we're only the second team to beat the New York Islanders, so that's not great when you're knocking off the top team in the league, especially when you're trying to lose games. In general, it would be good, but damn. Kimmo Timonen's back, which is nice, and he's up to an 85, so he's definitely back and healthy, happy and healthy. I'm mixed up happy and healthy for some reason. Anyways, Mike Wilson's now been injured with an injured back. At least it's not long term. We do beat Detroit, and Andreas Johansson has now gone down with an injured knee. So that's a pretty substantial injury considering how good he was playing, but hopefully that makes us drop off a little bit, as apparently everybody's back, I think, already. Let's double check and make sure that is the case. Yeah, Johansson is already back. He's actually not even fully healthy, but still, that was not a long-term injury. And then Mike Wilson is back as well, which means Lindner will come out of the lineup. Perfect. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, our team is definitely simulating better than expected this year, as Andreas Johansson injures that same knee again, so he's out for another week. Damn, poor guy. He's taking all these arrows to the knee. Alright, we should be able to put him back in now, which is funny that Patrick Cote was getting first line ice time, but I honestly don't care. when we're trying to lose games. And yeah, we're definitely below 500 now, but is it enough is the question. Yeah, I think we're definitely falling off enough here. 10, 14, and 3. We are now last place in the Central Division after that month, which is good. We are only 1 point, though, back of the Blackhawks and Blues. The thing is, we played one less game than the Blues, which is not great. So the Blues are technically maybe the worst team in this division. And then the Blackhawks have 2 less games played than us. The Red Wings are easily running away with the division, which makes sense. All right. We do have way more games coming up here against Detroit, so that's good. I'm curious, where are we in terms of the entire Western Conference standings right now? Is Scott Walker still over point per game with 28 points in 27 games? So I think our offense definitely fell off a little bit over the last little while. Western Conference-wise, we're not in a playoff spot, which is good, but we are currently now in 12th spot. So we definitely fell off a little bit from 6 to 12. Hopefully we continue to fall down, because obviously that is what we're hoping for. We're hoping for a good pick this year, and so we could grab ourselves a good prospect again. Alright, so I guess we'll simulate another month and see again where we are in the standings. Just take a quick little update. But obviously I want to get to it like a day before the trade deadline or so. As Valachevic has been injured with a pulled groin, he is out till December 18th. So for half a month. We beat Detroit in the game. That's kind of surprising considering how good they've been. And now we've all of a sudden won 4 games in a row. Boys, please stop winning games. Why are you winning games now? This team is really inconsistent, and it's kind of frustrating because I want to fall off a lot, but all of a sudden we go on a 5-game winning streak after we had a very terrible month, which makes no sense. And then it's ended there by Colorado. We got it shut out in back-to-back games. Damn. No, we do not want Mikhail Renberg, but thank you there, Washington. All of a sudden, after a pretty good month, we are now 17-9-3 because we lost 3 games this month, 2 of them via shutout. That's not good that we all of a sudden started to win games again, because now we are technically, we're tied still for the worst in the Central Division. We do have a game in hand on the Blues. Where are we in terms of the Western Conference? Like, are we finding ourselves back into the playoff picture almost? Because that's not where I want to be. 40 points in 39 games for Scott Walker. I'm surprised he's doing as good as he is. Let's see the Western Conference standings again. Oh my goodness, we found ourselves back into a playoff spot because of how good that month was. We do have Dallas that's like right on our ass, so to speak, though. Same as St. Louis. So we could still fall off quite easily here if we lose a bunch of games. We could easily fall to last place because there's literally only 4 points separating the Oilers and us. So we're in a really weird spot at the moment. Hopefully we do not hold that playoff spot because I really do not want to make the playoffs in this season. What was I going to do? I want to look at player stats, but I also feel like I don't want to. We're almost at the halfway point of the season already, which means the trade deadline's probably like near game 60 something. And actually see when it is. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty late into the season. Like, we're probably going to have like 60 plus games played by that stage. So maybe I won't even go to a day before the deadline, but maybe I should still. Let's go one more month. So February 1st, and then we'll take an updated look at player stats and all that stuff. And kind of decide on who we want to potentially flip away this season, because I think we're still over-simulating quite a bit here. But let's go to the end of January, and hopefully we fall off this month, because that would not be good if we start winning more games. Grant Marshall on waivers. Wasn't he on waivers last year too? I feel like he was. He's a decent player, but at this stage we're not trying to win games, so not going to take him in. And we're still winning games as Calle Johansson. No relation, I'm pretty sure, to Andreas. Is also on waivers. He's currently coming back from injury, but no thank you. Tampa Bay has fired their head coach, Daryl Denny. Who the heck would Tampa's head coach be in 2002? It probably would be, yeah, John Tortorella, I think, at this stage, which means this universe is definitely really weird. Let me see when Torts was coach. I think he would have already been coach at Tampa Bay at this point, right? Yeah, he would have been. So Tampa's already fired Tortorella, which means the 2004 season they will not have Tortorella, we could say, which is interesting. So Tampa's not doing too good. Obviously, that makes sense considering what we saw in the earlier stages of this episode where Mike Johnson only had the 1 goal in the 15 games. Why is our team winning so much? God damn, man. Okay, I don't think I'm going to simulate anymore. 25, 23, and 5. We've played 53 games. We might be still in the playoff spot, which is not ideal. And Walker's now under point per game, so our offense finally fell off a little bit, but Walker's been friggin' crazy good. It's probably that top 6 that's cruising us here right now. We are in 4th place. We are almost in a friggin' Western Conference, top of the Western Conference? Really? What? It's probably going to be San Jose, though, because San Jose's got 57 points and they've only played 51, but oh boy, if we want to miss the playoffs this year, we're going to have to tear down some good players, because this team is way similarly better than expected here, and I don't really know what the reasoning is because of it. The good thing is the bottom of our division's at 47 points, or the Western Conference is at 47 points. So we could still easily fall off quite a bit, but it's going to take a lot of work. Like if we were where the Edmonton Oilers were, it'd be a lot easier because literally it's only 2 points separating those playoff spots, or the playoff spot and the last place. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of what we could do to make ours worse. Let me take a look at what's actually been good for us here. Actually, I'm not going to look at the Eastern Conference standings at all. I just want to take a look at West. We're scoring 3.04 goals per game, which currently in our division is top 8, so we're scoring enough. Goals against wise, we are currently the 3rd best Western Conference defensive team. So maybe we need to get rid of like Rhett Warner, one of those guys we signed in the free agency, or maybe we change up the goaltending scenario. I don't know, but it's simulating better than expected. We're not that good on the power play, which is good. But it's just our defensive play that's been fantastic. Like, we have the 2nd best PK in the West. We have 6 shorthanded goals. 6-3-1 in our last 10 games as well. That's not great. Alright, let's take a look at some player stats here. See who could be a potential trade candidate. So, starting off with our centers, Greg Johnson's been fantastic. 50 points, 53 games. Like I said, I would like to hold on to him till the end of his career. So I'm probably going to still hold on to him, but we could trade him. There's a chance. David Legwand on 28 points, plus 14, is having a pretty solid year defensively. Not super much offense, but still, he's on pace for like 30, 40 points. Watts actually picked it up in the second half, 21 points now. Not too bad. Fitzgerald on 18 points, but minus 17. So our bottom 6 has definitely still not been that good defensively. Bordelot 14 points, and Arkhipov has 10 points now. He had like no goals and I think no points at the beginning of this episode, if I'm not mistaken. Left wing wise, Johansson on 42 points in 48 games. Obviously, he had a couple of knee injuries, but he is been playing pretty well. He is signed for one more season after this one. Ladislav Nagy on 35 points. Hartnell on 26 points. Not bad. Cote has nothing in 5 games, but 33 penalty minutes. He has the most out of every left winger, and he's only played 5 games. That's actually kind of nuts. He has 5 fights in 5 games. What a champ. What a champ. Right wing wise, Scott Walker on 52 points in 53 games. He's been great. Steve Sullivan's also been helping us out, team out a lot more than I anticipated. 51 points in 53 games. Valachevic on only 12 points. And Cesar had 1 goal in 4 games. Interesting. I don't want to get rid of Walker, Sullivan, Johansson, or Johnson, but I might have to get rid of one of them. Defensively, Kimmo Timonen on 24 points has been pretty solid. Mike Wilson on 13. Hal Gill on 13, but he's a minus 13. It's kind of weird. Scratchins 13 points. Tamander 10 points. Warner 10 points. And Lindner 2 goals in 5 games. Pretty solid defense for most of those guys, but not Hal Gill and Rhett Warner. Kind of weird. Goaltending wise, our goalies have been solid still. Vokun's got a 17 and 16 record. 2 shutouts and a .907 save percentage. And a 2.91 goals against. But Rick DiPietro is playing pretty solid as a backup. 912 save percentage through 19 starts. He's got an 8-8 record. Alright, both of them have an assist as well. Yeah, that's interesting. Alright. I want to take a look at around the league as well currently, just to see who's leading in points and stuff for fun. Pavel Bure's already got 56 goals and 88 points. Jesus. Yeah, Pavel Bure's over a goal a game. That's actually insane. Wow. Alright. Shout out to Pavel Bure. And then shout out to this guy, Colton Appleby, who went, I think, first overall. Yeah, literally a couple of years ago. He's over point per game in his 2nd season. That's kind of nuts. Wow. That's pretty damn good. Defensively, Zubov's leading defenders in Pittsburgh. I forgot that he went to Pittsburgh. Goalie-wise, Broder's leading in wins right now. And best save percentage by starter, Cujo, who has a 921 save percentage through 41 games. Goals against wise, best by starter so far is Brodeur. Best rookie so far this season is Appleby. Appleby's considered a rookie because he didn't play the full year last year. And Ilya Kovalchuk is the best one I made. Pavel Datsyuk up there. Damn. Alright. So the question is, who the heck do we flip to make this team fall off in this next... I guess we have literally only like 20, just under 20 games. Wait. Just under 30 games. 29 games left this season. So we need to fall off quite a bit to not make the playoffs here. These are all depending UFAs. And the big one obviously is Kimmo Timonen, but I would like to hold on to Kimmo considering he was with Nashville still for a while longer after this point. But the big ones afterwards is like Bordeleau, Fitzgerald, like our entire bottom six. And then Legwand is obviously an RFA, so I would hold on to him. There is a lot of guys that are pending UFA, but I honestly don't really know who I would move from this team. I just don't. Yeah, because most of those bottom six guys have been struggling, so moving them might actually help our team out. But Kimmo Timonen is a really good one. Obviously, moving him would fetch us probably quite a bit, but I don't really think moving him makes sense. Last year he was a minus 28. This year is an even 0, so he's helped out a lot more defensively this season. I would like to hold on to him, I think. And then goaltending-wise, we don't really have any goalies to deal with, so there's not really much that's pending UFA-wise. But let me take a look for the year after this year. Who is a pending free agent in 2028? Mike Wilson, Johansson, Warner. Not really a lot either. Damn, yeah, we have some weird decisions to make for sure. I honestly don't know if I would trade any of these guys yet. Some of these guys could be just let go of the free agency, but obviously if we wanted to get rid of some of our offense, it would have to be probably trading one of these 4 guys. Which the oldest of the bunch is Greg Johnson. So, I don't really want to trade Greg though. That's a really tough decision. Really tough. I'll leave that to you guys. Let's take a look at the trading block just to see if there's anything that we could potentially bring in that will help us in the future, because obviously we're not trying to win right now. But if there's anything interesting, let me know. I'm not going to look at this too much in depth on my own. I'm going to just skim through this, but if you guys see anything cool, let me know. Like, Jonathan Girard's only 21, and he's a nice top 6 defenseman. Obviously, we're not trying to win right now, but that would have been decent if we were trying to. Martin Biron on the block, too, is a decent one. But, yeah, we're not trying to win the Stanley Cup here this early. Especially when we're trying to get, like, a good prospect like Duncan Keith or something like that. Like, if we end up making the playoffs, we're not going to get Duncan Keith, we're not going to get Jay Bouwmeester unless we move up in the draft, which it's going to be really hard to do so with this franchise mode, because I'm pretty sure people value first-round picks like crazy in this. Zetterberg is still on the block, but I'm not trading for him. I'm curious if he's still playing in the AHL. Yeah, he still is, and Detroit's doing well. That's kind of crazy. So soon he will probably be in the NHL, but not just yet. What else we got here? Jason Chimera, Mark Rycroft. I think that was Mark Rycroft. I don't even know. Anything else? Nick Backstrom as goaltender. Interesting. That's where he signed, I guess. Oh, I didn't even realize. Did I realize George Peros got drafted by LA? Or no, he was already in the AHL with LA at the beginning, right? Yeah, he was. That's right, because he was an unsigned prospect at that point, but I had to put him in LA because he was too old to be an unsigned prospect. Ken Danico is a veteran. Yeah, this universe is probably really weird now at this point, so that's why I want to do like an episode just dedicated to looking at every team's roster or something like that, but it would probably be not this at the end of this season. It would probably be at the end of next season, or in the off season, I should say, at the beginning of the start of 03-04, because we're still no 102 at the moment. But ooh, Mika Kiprusoff's on the trading block. I wonder if the Calgary Flames will be interested in a young Kipper. It was still in the AHL. No wonder they're trying to trade him. He's got 1 year left, and yeah, he's going to be a really good... he's probably going to test free agency this year, my guess, if they don't trade him before the deadline. That's a really interesting one. I hope he gets dealt to Calgary, but I don't know if Calgary has any need for him. As Tampa's apparently tearing it down, they have Holzinger, Johnson, and Modine on the block. No Martin St. Louis yet, which is interesting. So maybe Martin St. Louis will be the part of the future that helps rebuild the Tampa Bay Lightning a bit. Because obviously they still have Brad Richards and LeCavalier too. So that will be interesting to see if that happens or not. And that's basically the trading block. Anything else we want to take a look at here? Anything else I want to take a look at? Who's still in the free agent class out of curiosity? Is there like guys that are still not getting signed? I think so, right? The best is the Loney Bahono. So yeah, see, a lot of these veteran guys, I don't know why the AI teams don't sign them for their AHL. I'd rather run like 48 overalls, but instead they just leave all these guys available, which is kind of weird. Who's the best goalie in free agency? Steven Valaket. Okay. Yeah, I'm really surprised AI doesn't decide to sign some of these dudes, but it is what it is. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Nashville Predators Throwback 2000 franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the trade deadline. We'll see what we end up doing in terms of trying to blow this team up a little bit. Or we could easily keep it together and just hope that our team falls off enough to miss the playoffs. But it's been a really weird season, and I don't know how this team's in a playoff spot, but they found a way. It's probably because of the top six offensively, and then also our goaltending's been good. But I honestly have no idea who I would flip away to basically make this team worse in those type of areas. So let me think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.